The reason we have a housing crisis is because this government, and I would say the two major parties, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, believe that housing is a means to make money for certain people in society. And that's how the Irish rich have always got rich, is through property. The property owners who see property as a means to make money are disproportionately represented in this House, and the Irish rich disproportionately, in international terms, get rich from property. So they don't want to resolve the problem, and their commitment to making money from property is why we have a housing crisis. And tragically, an economic crash that was caused in 2008 by the greed of people making money out of property, rather than leading to people saying we need a fundamental rethink and that housing should be seen as a human right to be provided by a decent society, in fact has been used as an opportunity, primarily through the vehicles of the banks and NAMA, to further enrich a certain layer of people who make money from property. So, it's just rubbish what I heard Mr. Murphy talk about today, Minister Murphy talk about today, when he's saying we're moving in the right direction. And on the same week, I hear Dáil Éireann County Council, dominated by, guess who, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, assisted by the Greens in that particular instance, have flogged off land wholly owned by the council in Cherrywood to, guess who, Johnny Ronan. The boys are back in town, facilitated by the state and the major political parties. When we opposed the plan to sell off this land, we were told by the council, no, that land couldn't be used for council housing. There were some problems apparently with the land, it was too low or something. Oh, rubbish. Oh, rubbish, because it's now been sold to Johnny Ronan, and Johnny Ronan's going to build 140 apartments there, no problem, and make a lot of money from it. One of the guys who helped crash the economy. Right? So it's just we're getting a lot of nonsense from the government, while in reality the policy continues to be see land, see property as an opportunity to enrich the already rich and make them richer. And this is why the crisis continues to escalate. And for the government to say it's moving in the right direction in some sense is nonsense. Their own targets, which they have missed, were pathetic in the first place, as we've been saying since Rebuilding Ireland was launched. To try and solve a massive social housing crisis with a policy which depends, 3/4 of social housing provision is going to depend on the private sector, was a disastrous policy in the first place, guaranteed to continue the housing crisis, but you haven't even met your own pathetic targets. Right? And then, I'll tell you something else, and I just finished on this point, Count Corley. Whatever progress was made, minimal in the last year or two, it's going to get worse in the next few years, right? We had a little bit of an increase in social housing in Dáil Éireann, and in some places because the political pressure was on. When you look at what's in the pipeline, a lot of areas, it's actually going to diminish in the next few years. In Dáil Éireann, there's only 56 houses going to be delivered in the next 2 years. 56! And the target is 1,500, right? So, people have to get out on the streets, Count Corley, like the water charges, unless we have tens of thousands of people affected by this housing crisis out on the streets. And March the 9th in Dublin is the next opportunity to do this. We are not going to resolve this absolutely diabolical, shameful housing and homelessness crisis.
Deputy Carol Nolan,